to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Accomplishment Coaching is proud to present the following fine programming. Accomplishment Coaching, where coaches lead and leaders coach. AccomplishmentCoaching.com.
Welcome to Leadership Insights Radio.
Thanks for listening in. I'm Wade Taylor, and on today's show, I'm happy to be joined by Lars Helgeson. He is the CEO and founder of GreenRope, and I encourage you to look him up online. Go ahead and open up a browser window right now. Go to greenrope.com. They provide a complete CRM solution, as they say on their website, everything your business needs for maximum growth and efficiency. And they really do have a passion for helping these businesses grow to a level of being efficient. You know, so many businesses, when they start up, are often doing CRM out of an Excel spreadsheet, right? Or they found some free tool online that kind of gives them a basic structure, but they often run into limitations.
Right.
So there does come a time when that business has to go, I'm out of startup mode. I'm settling in, growing, and boy, I want to grow to that next level. And just like I need professional staff to help me get there, I need professional tools to help me get there. And it seems like GreenRope is really dedicated to providing an integrated professional tool for that business that is on that aggressive growth track. Would that be correct?
That's our goal. I mean, we absolutely want to help a company scale, and you have to have the right tools to do it. Otherwise, it turns into a big tangled mess.
Right. And talk to us just a moment for people to appreciate the power of automation. We've got all these tools, and we kind of sort of know them. As business people, we may be scratching the surface, but really there's tremendous power and profit that will be unleashed when we embrace automation, correct?
Yeah, it's all about efficiency. You know, as a smaller business, actually, I mean, any size business has to struggle with running efficiently. I mean, you don't want to waste your time doing repetitive tasks. I mean, that's why we invented machines to begin with, right? So if we can find ways to automate things without alienating our leads and our customers, then we're able to scale our business and not invest as heavily in labor. Most businesses will tell you labor is their biggest expense. And there's a reason for that. I mean, it takes, when you have people involved, there's all kinds of complications, HR is involved, you know, all that stuff. So if you can scale up your business, provide more services by automating things with software, then you don't have to hire as many people. And that, of course, impacts the bottom line. It makes your business run a little more smoothly. So, and that's why we created machines to begin with.
Right. Now, you guys offer an integrated solution. You definitely are big on comprehensiveness. And again, I encourage you to go to greenrope.com, and you can see the range of services and solutions they have. I'm wondering if you can call out one or two that you find people underappreciate and are often really surprised by the impact that this little thing had on growing their business.
I think integrating customer service and a CRM is one of those things that really gets overlooked a lot, because people think CRM, because it traditionally has been, a sales tool. They think it's a thing for a salesperson to kind of make notes about their meetings and phone calls and stuff. But really, when you take a holistic view of the relationship, a lot is driven by customer experience, and customer service is a big part of customer experience. So if someone goes to your website and they open up a chat session with one of your customer service folks, and you've got a conversation happening, and you can learn a lot from that conversation, but where does that data go? If it's not immediately accessible by somebody, then it might as well just be lost. And, you know, you hear these stories about, I'm sure you've heard, where a salesperson might call someone and they may have had a terrible experience with a product. And you're trying to sell them something that you know, some product that you're representing.
Right.
And something terrible happened. And you go in and you make the phone call blind because you don't know that this conversation ever happened. And all of a sudden you get blindsided with, well, your thing sucks and I don't want to buy from you, and you're kind of shut down. Whereas had you known about that ahead of time, you could have created strategies. Maybe you said, start the conversation with, I heard you had a bad experience. Let me make it better. Things like that, where you can avoid and sort of defuse potentially bad situations. And so part of that is understanding that on a one-to-one basis. But the other part of that is understanding the things like, if someone has an issue and they open up a support ticket, how are tickets getting resolved? How long does it take to get things resolved? What things can you automate to make sure the customer is happy as you go through the progress of opening and closing a support ticket? Things like the live chat, where you've got a customer service representative on a computer sending messages back and forth and making sure those messages are accurate, and making sure that they're attached to a CRM record. So if a salesperson needs to go in and reference those tickets and chat conversations, that they can do that. Things like phone conversations. So if someone calls in, or someone else in your company calls this lead or calls a customer, and you want to know what that call went like, not having to rely on the other person making the call, but being able to listen to your call yourself or seeing a transcription of it. All of that information contributes to the relationship.
Yeah.
And it's often overlooked.
Yeah, and I think people don't recognize that those calls can be captured. And there's so much value there that larger companies, when they're dealing on very large contracts, will often have multiple people listening into the conversation because one person can't catch everything.
Right.
And if you can't do that, the next best thing is at least record the conversation for review. And now your staff isn't flailing around blindly.
Right. And it's part of a coaching of your support staff, your customer service staff, and it's also a learning about strategy. When you're looking at what are people calling about, are they happy or sad? What sort of sentiment are you getting from these conversations? And a lot of times this information, because it's so buried, it's in a different system. Maybe the customer service manager can see it, but how does that get in the hands of salespeople? How does it get in the hands of marketing people? And then connecting those dots and saying, okay, if we see that someone had a bad experience and they open up a support ticket and you're able to resolve it, then what do? Do you automate and this, again, it goes back to modeling the customer journey, understanding when someone hits that point, then what do you do? So you have a process in place to make sure that these things don't fall through the cracks, and then you get an unhappy customer that kind of wanders away. And you've heard the stats. They always say it's like 19 positive experiences with your company has the same weight as one negative experience with your company. So you have to really notice when something negative happens and really get on it and see if there's a process in place to deal with that. Then as a business, you're likely to handle the bumps in the road. Whereas if these things happen and you have no idea they're happening, or you have no process in place to catch it, someone has a bad experience, explodes in your face, and then what do you do? So and that's part of what integrated CRM does for you, because that information is all tied together.
Right. It allows you to both document the sales process, document the customer experience, document every facet. So again, you're not operating blindly on hunches. And sadly, we as humans often are poor allocators of risk. We often misunderstand things. And to be a successful business with so much competition out there, you can't afford to slip up.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is if you're a manager or a business, you don't ever want to be in the position where you have one person who has so much corporate knowledge or so much informal process knowledge that if they leave, you're totally stuck. And you're flailing around trying to figure out, well, what do we do? And because sometimes when that happens, people know that and they use that as leverage against their employer. And sometimes people just get other jobs and they move on. And if you don't have enough time to get somebody else up to speed, you're stuck in a difficult position. And so if you have a CRM that integrates all this information together, you don't lose any of that data. You don't lose any of that information. And that's what we want to create is a full system where everyone, it's not that people are expendable. It's just that you're
Change
never
happens.
Yeah, things happen and you're prepared for it.
Right. And so I think that is really critical in our final couple of minutes here for people to truly embrace. I started out thinking automation, but actually the archiving, the capturing that institutional knowledge, Because if you are a small business that's trying to grow to a mid-size, a couple of key players having a change in their life and moving on can suddenly put you 3 steps back,
Right.
unless you've incorporated something like GreenRope's integrated CRM, where now all that is locked down, available to everybody, both the owner to analyze and for that new substitute person to quickly get up to speed.
Yeah, and a lot of the messaging itself, when it becomes automated, you're able as a business owner to set the tone and the brand. That's a big part of how this outbound communication is generated. You have to think about, as a business, what do you stand for? And it's more than just your colors and the logo and everything. It's more about your tone. How does the overall layout, design, like what represents you as a company, your brand? And so when we talk about sales, we talk about customer service, we talk about even things like email marketing or whatever, or if you do text message marketing, like what tone do you set? What colors do you use? How do you ensure consistency so that you're not getting these different looking, different tonal, different kinds of communications from one company, because then you don't have a consistent message.
Yeah, and let me just double down on that consistency. Greg Gibson over at Grizzly was emphasizing brand isn't your logo.
Right.
Brand is the ongoing customer experience.
Right.
And like you're mentioning, if that customer experience isn't set from the top down, isn't adhered to, isn't consistent across the board, then your brand is in many ways looking for its identity rather than establishing it firmly in the mind of the client. So great information from Lars Helgeson. I encourage you to go check out his company, GreenRope, at greenrope.com. We'll be back again with more information on Leadership Insights Radio, powered by WSRadio.com.
The National Academy of Distinguished Neutrals is an invitation-only association of over 700 of America's premier civil trial mediators and arbitrators, as rated by local litigators. The Academy's website is an invaluable resource. Firms can search for a neutral by case experience or region, and even check available dates for local mediators and arbitrators online for free. No referral or admin fees. Please visit the Academy at nadn.org today for more information.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McCullough brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcCullough.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McCulloughe. ChristopherMcCullough.com.
You've heard me talking about Progressive Medical Center. They have helped me feel my best. And Dr. Gully, tell us a little bit about integrative medicine. Why is that such a big deal at Progressive Medical Center, and how can that make me feel better?
Integrative medicine is just good medicine. It's combining the best of traditional medicine, nutritional medicine, natural medicine, and really helping the patient get to the root cause so they can take control of their health and really make an impact to improve not only their energy, their vitality, and just their overall outlook on their health and their life.
I procrastinated waited for a long time before I finally made an appointment. So why should someone not delay and go ahead and get set up and come see you guys?
Any journey begins with that first step, and that first step means making a decision to recognize that there's something wrong with you. Whether you have fatigue, inappropriate weight gain, not sleeping well, not concentrating, all of these issues, you can get to the root cause.
So many of us here at The Fish have gotten help from Progressive Medical Center. So why don't you find out more from them today? Go to progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life, live it well.